Engagement is one of the 6 primary developmental milestones, but it is also one of these higher level great kid capacities. The reason is that engagement progresses throughout our lives. Engagement is our ability to relate and emotionally connect with those around us. Yes, people associate it with eye contact and looks, but it's so much more complex than that. It begins with the bonds of intimacy that a baby shares with their caregiver, and it continues to progress to other relationships, those formed with their larger family circle, with their peers, and eventually more adult relationships. And in addition to a broad range of emotionally relevant relationships, the different emotions with which we can engage around are relevant too. Making sure we can engage around positive and negative emotions equally is important, when we're happy as well as when we're sad, when we're excited as well as when we're angry. This range of relationships as well as range of emotions that we can experience this engagement with is crucial to our overall success. This begins early in life. In the first few months of life, an infant learns to build that bond with their caregiver. By 4 months of life, the smiles back and forth, the looks, the connection are established with reciprocity. This reciprocity deepens the emotional connection because now we're getting feedback and giving feedback. But in reality, it actually starts even sooner. As early as 2 weeks, infants are said to do modeling of their parents' facial gestures and a type of mimicry with their mouths. This relating to their caregivers, this understanding this person around them, is crucial for building future relationships. If we can't have a relationship with our initial caregivers, or that relationship is inconsistent or inaccessible, then we see that future relationships also can have challenges. This sense of back and forth or reciprocity continues to expand and it evolves. It's not just a smile for a smile, but a baby taking much larger role in their environment and starting to reach out to their caregivers, initiate even. Each stage of reciprocity and communication interaction that a child develops enhances their ability to understand the world around them, feel more connected with the world around them, especially the people within it. Each of these stages allows us to become more engaged, more emotionally connected with the world. It is through interaction, through these emotional exchanges, that we develop deeper and deeper relationships and feel more safe and secure within these relationships. We start to anticipate what someone may do next. We start to learn to adapt and adjust based on what they just did. And now, whether it's playing peekaboo or hide and seek, or even a treasure hunt or chase game, we see that the expansion of the communication skills leads to broader and broader abilities to relate and connect with those around us. Eventually, these pre-verbal conversations turn into verbal conversations, stories, activities. And now we see that emotional themes and emotional discourse emerge, and a child becomes even closer to those around them because of their expressive opportunities around these emotional pursuits and their personal interests. As this progresses, we start understanding the logic of these relationships. If I do this, they do this. Within family dynamics, this becomes somewhat predictable. We are exposed to people consistently, and hopefully the people around us are being consistent. However, when we start translating this to peer groups, this changes. Peers are far less predictable, less forgiving, and we actually spend less time with them developing an understanding and relationship with them. This actually makes peer relationships more challenging than familial relationships. And so staying engaged within a peer group is more challenging than being engaged just with family members. We have to start with family members, especially caregivers, and eventually translate that to peers. But unfortunately, if we don't have that capacity, if we don't have the ability to engage and relate to our caregivers and family, then it makes it even increasingly difficult to do that with peers. Unfortunately, one of the suggestions that professionals make for children with difficulties in engaging and relating with peers is to continue to throw them into peer environments, put them around more peers. But in reality, oftentimes these challenges begin with a difficulty relating with caregivers. The child has insecure attachments with the caregiver, is unable to fully relate to the caregiver because of communication or developmental delays. And now just putting them around peers unfortunately pushes them further away from relating because they don't have the tool set to do so. It would be like someone throwing you into a calculus class when you're still learning arithmetic. The ability to engage and relate also leads to so many other emotional outcomes, especially things like empathy and our ability to understand and truly feel what other people are feeling. So without these relationships, without the ability to engage, it's very hard to achieve any of these other ends. As a result, we need to be focusing on these early relationships, this early engagement with caregivers in order to build the foundation for all other relationships.